Help me reach 6,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. It was supposed to be just another evening. A small company dinner, the kind where spouses tag along to make polite conversation and pretend everything's fine. The restaurant was elegant but cold, the kind of place where laughter sounds rehearsed. I remember reaching for Olivia's hand under the table. A quiet gesture, something simple. She pulled away before my fingers even touched hers. "Don't," she whispered sharply, her eyes darting toward the coworkers across from us. "Don't let them think we're a couple." Her words were quiet, but they echoed in my chest like a slammed door. For a second, I thought I'd misheard her. But the stiffness in her posture, the fake smile she gave the people across the table, it told me I hadn't. I froze, my hand retreating back to my lap. Everyone else kept talking about quarterly results and vacation homes. And there I sat, realizing my wife didn't even want to be seen as mine. That moment didn't start the distance between us. It revealed it. We'd been married 8 years. The first 3 were golden, or maybe I only remember them that way because I want to believe there was something worth fighting for. Olivia used to laugh at my terrible cooking, dance barefoot in the kitchen while I clapped along. We weren't perfect, but we were present. Somewhere along the way, we stopped being a team and became polite strangers living under the same roof. First, I blamed work. Olivia had landed a management position at a marketing firm. Long hours, endless meetings, business trips. I told myself success changes routines, not hearts. But the late-night texts she'd hide when I entered the room, the way she suddenly started sleeping with her phone under her pillow, those things don't belong in healthy routines. Still, I stayed silent. When you love someone, you convince yourself they're just tired. You mistake distance for stress, avoidance for exhaustion. That dinner was the first time I realized I wasn't just losing her privately. I was losing her publicly. After the dinner ended, we walked to the car in silence. The parking lot was half-lit, the kind of place where secrets felt at home. I opened the passenger door for her, but she walked past it and went straight to the driver's side. "I'll drive," she said flatly. I didn't argue. I just sat there, staring out the window, watching the city blur by. Halfway home, I asked quietly, "Why did you say that? About not wanting people to think we're a couple?" She sighed, annoyed that I brought it up. "You're overreacting, Ethan. It's just, you know how office dynamics are. People talk. I don't want anyone thinking I get special treatment because of you." "Special treatment?" I said, forcing a small laugh. "You're the one with the bigger career, Olivia. I'm the guy who works from a laptop in the living room." She didn't respond. The rest of the drive was filled with the hum of the tires and the quiet sound of something breaking inside me. Not loud, not sudden, just steady and sure. That night, she went straight to bed. I sat in the living room with the lights off, scrolling through our old photos on my phone. The beach trip in Charleston, her birthday in Boston, our anniversary dinner where she wore that red dress I couldn't stop staring at. I wondered where that woman went, or if she ever existed beyond my own memory. Over the next few weeks, things got stranger. She stopped wearing her wedding ring, said it felt tight. She changed her passcode. When she'd leave the house for work, her perfume lingered longer than her goodbye. I started noticing patterns. The late meetings every Tuesday, the sudden insistence on going to networking events alone, the way she'd smile at her phone when she thought I wasn't watching. One night, when she came home past midnight, I asked, "Was it another work thing?" She nodded, setting her purse down. It ran late. Then she headed straight to the shower, humming softly, as if guilt could be rinsed away with warm water and soap. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But lies have a scent, not of perfume, but of practiced calm. The next morning, as she left for work, I noticed something different. Her phone buzzed on the counter. A name flashed across the screen before it went dark again. Daniel R. The message preview was short. "Last night was perfect." My stomach dropped. I didn't touch the phone. I didn't need to. The truth doesn't always demand proof. Sometimes it just sits there, uninvited and undeniable. That evening, I didn't confront her. Not yet. I watched her move around the kitchen, laughing at something on her phone. The same phone that whispered someone else's name. I realized then, the woman who told me not to hold her hand wasn't embarrassed of me. She was protecting someone else. And I decided I wouldn't be quiet anymore. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, that text replayed in my head like a whisper I couldn't unhear. Last night was perfect. The next morning, Olivia moved around the kitchen like nothing had happened, humming, pouring coffee, smiling faintly at her reflection in the window. I studied her the way you study a stranger you once knew. Every gesture familiar but wrong, every movement rehearsed. I wanted to ask her right there, "Who is Daniel?" But I didn't. Not because I was afraid of her answer, but because I already knew it. I just needed to decide what to do with the truth. For 3 days I played along, pretended everything was normal. I kissed her goodbye, sent her texts during lunch, even cooked dinner on Thursday like I used to. But inside, I was building something. A quiet resolve, steady and sharp. On Friday evening, she said she had another team dinner. She wore a soft blue dress I hadn't seen before and that perfume. The same one she used to wear on our anniversaries. I nodded, smiled, and told her to have a great time. The moment she left, I followed. Not close enough to be seen, just enough to keep her taillights in view. She didn't drive to the office. She drove across town to a small Italian place. Candlelit tables, couples laughing, hands brushing across wine glasses. And then I saw him, Daniel. I recognized him instantly. He'd been at that same company dinner 2 weeks ago, sitting 2 seats down from her, the one who'd made her laugh when I couldn't. They hugged before they sat. Not a friendly hug. The kind you give someone whose absence aches. For a long moment, I couldn't move. I stood outside my car, wind pushing against me, like even the night wanted to turn away. Could have stormed in, shouted, made a scene. But that would have given them both what they wanted, drama to distract from guilt. Instead, I left. I drove aimlessly, streets blurring into lines of white and yellow. By the time I got home, I wasn't angry anymore. I was hollow. And in that hollow space, something calm began to grow. A plan. The next day, while she was showering, I sat on the couch with her laptop. The password wasn't hard to guess. Her mother's birthday. Within minutes, I had everything. The texts, the pictures, the calendar entries that lined up perfectly with her work trips. It wasn't just one affair. It was months of it. Carefully timed, beautifully disguised. I didn't confront her immediately. I wanted her to believe everything was still fine. I wanted her to keep lying, to feel safe. Because the cruelest punishment isn't rage. It's clarity. That night, I made her favorite dinner, chicken piccata, white wine, candles. She was surprised. "What's the occasion?" she asked, smiling. I said softly, "I just wanted to celebrate us." We ate. We laughed. For the first time in months, it felt almost normal. When dinner ended, I stood up, walked to the living room, and turned on the TV. "I have something I want to show you," I said. The screen flickered to life, and there it was. The photo of her and Daniel, holding hands across a table, her smile brighter than I'd seen in years. Then another photo, and another, a slow, merciless slideshow of everything she'd hidden. Her fork fell against the plate. The sound rang through the room like a gunshot. "Where did you get that?" she whispered. I didn't answer. I just watched her face shift, from shock to fear to shame. Finally, she said, "It's not what you think." I almost laughed. "Then tell me what it is, Olivia. Tell me why my wife won't hold my hand in public but will hold his in secret." She opened her mouth, then closed it. There was nothing left to say. After a long silence, she whispered, "I didn't mean for this to happen." I nodded slowly. "No one ever does." I stood up, walked to the doorway, and paused. "You said you didn't want people to think we were a couple. Don't worry. They won't anymore." And I walked out. I didn't go to a hotel or a friend's place. I just drove. Hours passed. Somewhere between midnight and dawn, I parked by the old lake where we used to sit when we first started dating. I remembered how she'd once said, "Promise me you'll never leave, no matter what." Funny thing about promises, they only hold weight when both people mean them. When I finally went home the next morning, she was gone. Her clothes, her perfume, even the picture frames. Empty spaces where memories used to live. I didn't chase her. I didn't text or call. I poured myself a cup of coffee, sat at the table, and looked at the sunlight spilling across the floor. For the first time in months, it felt honest. People think betrayal destroys you. It doesn't. It just removes the illusions you built to protect the lie. Sometimes, losing someone is the only way to find yourself again. And as I sat there, the silence didn't feel empty anymore. It felt clean. That night at the restaurant, when I reached for her hand and she pulled away, I thought I'd lost her. But the truth is, I'd already been alone. I just hadn't accepted it yet. Now I have.